It's an amazing honor. I never thought I would ever receive anything like this before. I had two professions. One was teaching public school, and the other was officiating. I did them for the same number of years, only I retired from teaching 15 years ago, and the tennis officiating continues. And this is my 38th year doing it, and it'll be my 30th U.S. Open to return to this year.
So tell us the story of how you got involved in officiating and how you progressed in officiating at such a rapid rate.
Well, first I have to thank my mother, who's watching from heaven. One summer, my sister and I were bored, and she wrote to the Alexandria Town Talk, the newspaper, and asked what there was for children to do besides Little League baseball, which was the predominant sport, and they said free tennis lessons. So we took them, took a crash course. We both excelled, my sister and I did, and then I was fortunate to receive a college scholarship at Louisiana College and had wonderful experiences doing that. And then the year after I graduated from college, Dr. Robert Gagnard, who at the time was at LSUA, and he had instructed me, and he was the only tennis official, to my knowledge at that time, in Louisiana. We didn't need officials then. It was just a gentleman's sport, and you just called your own lines. And we had an exhibition that was coming to Louisiana, to Baton Rouge Centreplex, and it was, at that time in 1982, it was Bjorn Borg and Jimmy Connors. And if you're old enough to remember, at that time they were number 1 and 2 in the world, respectively. And Dr. Gagnard asked us to be the linesman, gave us about a 15-minute crash course, and when it was over, I said, I want more of this. What do I do to sign up? And that was the beginning. And Robert mentored me and helped me along the way, and I have him to thank.
So you get involved in officiating, but that jump from exhibitions and such to our national championship and the international competition, how did you make that climb?
I guess someone thought I was pretty accurate, and I was loud enough, and I guess presented myself well enough, and was mentored by many people along the way. I didn't do it all by myself. I had people help me with my technique and the rules, and I just advanced, and it was a lot of fun along the way, and it still is. I still enjoy it immensely.
So what did you teach? What grades, what subjects?
I taught every grade. I started in high school. Business was my major, and I coached tennis. And then I ended up marrying, moving into another area, and I taught special education for a couple of years. Then I had a second certification in physical education, so I taught the last 10 years elementary physical education.
Okay, so you're dealing with elementary school students, and you're dealing with world-class tennis professionals. Who's harder to manage?
They both have similar issues. You just have to deal with them in different ways.
Who were some of the players that you've officiated who were the great sports people, who were people who you enjoyed working their matches? And I'm sure there's a countless number, but are there some who stand out who you just thought, what a classy competitor?
Some of the true class acts going way back. Yvonne Goolagong was just before I began my officiating career. Chris Everett, Billie Jean King, I officiated both of theirs. They were amazing competitors. And in more recent times, let's see, late 80s, 90s, Stefan Edberg from Sweden, class act, just floated on the court. And the most recent, and still playing, Federer. Roger Federer seems to float effortlessly on the court, and every time I'm on the court with him, it's something extremely special. It's just beautiful to watch. It really is. He's just a cut above other athletes. Others seem to grind it out, dig it out. Roger just floats.
So I called lines once.
Did you?
And it may come as a surprise that there was a question. It wasn't a pro, it was a college, high-level college. It was Warnke and Pinchoff, who became very successful professionally. And Warnke's about a 6'4" guy, I think, if I'm remembering the right guy. And I made one call that he questioned. Scared me to death. Here's this hulking guy. He's not happy. He thinks I've missed the call. He's trying to intimidate me into giving the chair official the opportunity to change the call. So how intimidating can it be when some of these very high-energy people are staring you down?
You have to understand, I taught public school. I had a brief stint in the Army. There's not a lot that intimidates me. But you just keep it inside, poker face, and move along.
So we don't want to play poker with you?
No.
Kind of felt
And you
that
were
way.
so good that you did it a whole day?
Just one match.
One match.
They needed somebody, and I got picked. So you've got that kind of experience. You add into it now technology. When you make a call, it's not just a dispute where you're right or you're wrong. It's not like clay where you can go circle the mark. They've got all the technology that can trace. I've got to believe one of the most validating feelings is when that technology upholds you. And that happens a lot in your case, doesn't it?
It's a good feeling when they show it on the Jumbotron, and sometimes the space is so minute that they have to blow it up like the moon to see, and the gasps from the crowd. So that's a very good feeling. But again, we're supposed to be poker face, good, bad, or otherwise, right or wrong. But you just have this nice feeling inside when you nailed it, and it was that close.
As you see, I'm wearing glasses. Those are shades on your head. Perfect vision?
I wouldn't say any part of me is perfect, but so far so good. My distance vision is still very accurate.
And do you still play a little bit?
Unfortunately, I had a spinal issue, and about 6 years ago, I could have continued, but I didn't want to risk not being able to do the officiating or other fun things. So I just said, I've had enough fun playing tennis. I'll just hang up the racket.
And how long do you think you'll continue officiating?
As long as I can see and still move, and that they still hire me, and that I enjoy it. As soon as I don't enjoy it anymore and it's not fun, I can hang it up.
Your last competition that you officiated and your next?
The last one was in Tallahassee, Florida. It was a men's pro event on clay, just under what they show on television, just under the ATP Tour. And the next one is, I'm trying to remember, this is sort of my rest and recharge time. And I go back the middle of July, I believe it's Newport, Rhode Island. I think that's the next one.
And off to the Open again.
And off to the Open a couple of weeks after that.
May not be as eventful as your last match there last year. Osaka Williams.
One never knows.
Well, we'll hope for a little more peace and solitude and great tennis. And thank you and congratulations. Anybody else have any questions for Marie?
Marie, you mentioned the technology that's now available. Was there a time that maybe you and some of the other folks that are so involved in officiating thought that, this might supplant us?
And it's still a variable. That still may happen. There have been some tournaments that they've experimented with around the world where there's just a chair umpire and just review. But they always have a core of officials sitting around just in case the technology breaks down. And they've experimented with it. It has not been implemented into all the majors and most of the pro events. But that day may come when I don't have a job anymore because of that. Time will tell.
We'll hope not.
Right.
Marie Gagnard.